Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for coming. We've had a lot of names of people thrown out in this committee hearing so far. I want to throw out some names myself, and I don't expect you to know these names, Mr. Secretary. Mary Ann Mendoza, Doug and Patricia Quetz, Steve Ronnebeck, Fernando Becerdo, Shannon Estes, Patty Fox, Karen Griffin, Ann Fundner. I know you don't know these names, but myself and Congressman Biggs, we spent about 2.5 hours with these angel families last week in Arizona with the drug czar, Sarah Carter. And these stories were shocking and they were horrific. And I'm just interested, I find it so sad and curious why my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are so concerned with living conditions, food, and safety of illegal aliens, but they never seem to care or bring up these angel families and the fact that their loved ones are no longer with us. They don't get to eat food anymore. Their living conditions don't matter anymore because they're gone. They're dead. And the saddest thing to me, Mr. Secretary, in talking to them, and this is what broke all of their hearts, was that in every single one of these cases, their family members should be alive, and it was completely avoidable. Mr. Secretary, do you find it interesting that in the past, Democrats have supported border security and barriers like Democrats like Obama, Clinton, Schumer voted for, in 2006, for the Secure Our Fence Act. They also supported enhanced barriers in 2013 immigration bills. Do you find it interesting that the Democrat Party has shifted away from helping protect the homeland?
Unfortunately, what we continue to see is political theater because of the far left base is where they demand them to be. And it has nothing to do with the living conditions. And if you would permit me here, Congressman, I just want to point out a couple of things about Delaney versus the state penitentiaries in New Jersey. In Delaney, are in the state penitentiaries in New Jersey, you're 2 times more likely to die in New Jersey state facilities than you are in Delaney. We have 2 times the amount of space in Delaney, so when they say it's overcrowded, that's not accurate. We have 2 times as much more space than they do in the state penitentiaries in New Jersey. We have 2 times the medical personnel based on individuals that are in the Delaney versus the state penitentiaries. When you start talking about horrible conditions in the Northern State Penitentiary, the Garden State Youth Correctional Facility, and in the New Jersey State Prison, they have horrible conditions. Let me just talk about this Garden State Youth Correction Facility. They received citations for filthy conditions in the kitchen, standing water, rodent and insect infestation, and expired fire extinguishers. In Northern State Penitentiary, they have multiple violations for continuing flooding, raw sewage, wastewater spillage, and lack of temperature control that they've never fixed. Not one of these individuals have ever protested about what's happened in their own state yard, their backyard.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. It was interesting because several of my colleagues earlier on in this hearing brought up DHS supporting white nationalism. Do you remember a couple of members pointing that out? And then you actually brought up something, you asked one of my colleagues if he had endorsed the Senate candidate from Maine, Mr. Plattner, I believe his name is, who's a Nazi sympathizer. I actually looked it up. He had not endorsed that individual, but certain members of Congress had. And I'm going to read those names for you. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ruben Gallego, and Martin Heinrich, and Ro Khanna have all endorsed this Senate candidate from Maine. Do you find it interesting that all these accusations and targets of DHS and white nationalism are being targeted at you, yet their party continues to support this Nazi sympathizer running in Maine?
It's hypocritical at best.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought. I want to move on to tunnels real quick. I know my time's running out. You guys just discovered a big tunnel. What are you guys doing to make sure that the cartels aren't going underground, since we've done a good job in stopping a lot of what they're trying to send through the ports of entry and at the ports themselves.
As you know, this is the first tunnel that was been discovered in many years. We're deploying technology all around there for this because we see that we're forcing them underground because of President Trump's policies.
Gentleman yields back.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.